What's going on YouTube, Ferocity? I hope you guys are doing well. I think it's safe to say the launch of Season 1 of XDefiant didn't go as planned for Ubisoft and the XDefiant team. Some would probably argue that it's been nothing short of a disaster. Now, I don't want to be that hyperbolic, but I do believe that Season 1 deserves some criticism. Now, I'm not going to go as hard as I've gone in the past with other games and their broken seasonal launches. Looking at you, Call of Duty. And it's mostly because we have a developer standing in the line of fire and accepting all the criticism, accepting the blame. Not trying to blame the community for being entitled, not being silent when they're faced with adversity. They are being proactive. And I am 100% on board with that. I think development teams that want to walk into the line of fire and say, hey guys, we screwed up, we're working on fixes, this is what we're doing, is so much better than just being silent about it and letting a generic Twitter account release all of your updates. I like the fact that XDefiant has a face to their game. So now, let's dive into some of the problems that are here in XDefiant's Season 1 launch. And I want to point to a Reddit post by the realist J Sav for this video, because he outlines every known bug so far in Season 1, and I'm going to link it down below in the description. But I want to focus on a couple of these points and extrapolate on them. The first ones have to do with ranked play. As we all know, ranked play came live here in Season 1, and it's just not up to snuff. And here's part of the issue. Ranked matches will often start before both teams are full. Ranked matches will not award a player with points in a win if they are dead at the end of the match. And frequent disconnects in ranked often lead to unbalanced teams. So all of this has led to players just putting the mode away, saying, you know what, I'm done. Right? Nobody wants to start a ranked match as a 4v3 or a 3v4. It's just not as fun as going head-to-head 4v4. It's also a lot less fun when a bunch of your teammates leave the game. And I'm not sure if it's players leaving the game because they're frustrated or if it's disconnects because there's issues with the servers. I don't really know, but it's causing a lot of unbalancing and just a lot less enjoyment for players across the board. And the last one, which is a clear bug that both Aches and Ruben have talked about, the lack of ranked points if you're dead at the end of the match has to be immensely frustrating. Imagine grinding all the way through and you just get a really emotional win and you don't get rewarded for it. That would de-incentivize me to play the game any further. So these need to be fixed ASAP, and guess what? The developers know it, they've talked about it, and they're willing to accept blame for this. And I'm all about that. Take responsibility. Speaking of responsibility, there was a massive issue with Season 1 on the PS5. And I can't believe I've taken this long to talk about it. The PS5, after the launch of Season 1, became partially unplayable. Player base complaining about frame spikes, complaining about stability problems, and all in all, just not being the game that they remember. You want to have a player base that wants to invest in your game? This isn't how you do it. But Mark Rubin threw up this on Twitter yesterday regarding the PS5 patch. Hey all, we were able to do a quick patch for PS5 that is now live. It improves the situation for those running at 60 Hz who were having major frame spikes. This should be better, but not fully fixed. A full fix for both 60 Hz and 120 Hz is coming out next week as soon as we can get it through testing and certification. Wow. English hard on a Friday morning apparently. What I want to note from this tweet is the fact that right off the bat, Mark Rubin sets the expectation. I've talked a lot about this here on this channel because where Mark Rubin stands here, we believe that he's doing God's work. But I love that he put this in. This should be better, but not fully fixed. The amount of times that other development teams, for whatever game you want to talk about, would just throw this out there and then work on the rest of the patch behind the scenes, acting as if it's fixed, are too many to count. At least Mark Rubin setting the expectation, telling the community, hey, you're going to experience some better gameplay, but understand this isn't the full fix yet, is the chef's kiss for me on how to deal with your community properly, and then discusses a timeline for when it should be fully fixed, which is next week. Maybe a bit of a wait, but hopefully it's worth it. And hopefully the change has affected PlayStation 5 players in a positive manner. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room. For those of you that have been a part of this channel for a long time, you've known that I've completely lost my mind before regarding updates that break their respective games. And why am I being a little bit more lenient, a little bit more soft on XDefiant? Well, it's because of this Twitter response that I think perfectly encapsulates what has been missing from Call of Duty for so long and why I'm so willing to criticize them and not as quick to criticize XDefiant. Guy said test your game with no clue how game development works. If you think we don't test the game with hundreds of people, then you don't know what you were talking about. If you don't understand that we have to test on dev kits in dev environments, then you don't know what we are talking about. If you don't know that no matter how much testing you do, there will always be bugs that sneak through, then you do not know what you're talking about. If you think we are not working on a fix for PS5 as fast as we can, even though it's a holiday, then you don't know what you're talking about. So you see, I'm starting to see a pattern in what you know and what you don't know. If you didn't like the game, then fine, move on. But don't disparage my team. They work their asses off just to entertain you. Show some respect. Wow. Just wow. This is why I'm a little bit more lenient on XDefiant than I am on other games. Is because we have a developer that is willing to stand up for his team. Willing to say, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop trying to disparage my team. Stop trying to pretend that you know what's going on. You don't. And on top of that, we've had hundreds of replies from Mark Rubin on hundreds of different tweets regarding different fixes and different things they are working on. Transparency is key. And I think that Call of Duty would catch a lot less strays, a lot less frustration from their community if they were a little bit more transparent, which is what the community has asked for quite some time. This is the gold standard of game development. Yes, there are problems. Yes, there are issues. But at least we're honest about them. At least we're transparent about them. And at the end of the day, we know that this development team has each other's backs. And that's what matters. But with all this being said, with me being a little bit more lenient on this development team, I still understand the frustration and negativity being thrown at XDefiant today. This game has not met the expectations of this community, and I totally understand that. Hopefully, over the coming days, we see some resolutions to the myriad of issues that represented themselves here in Season 1 of XDefiant. And the game can thrive on what it does right, on some of the changes that were made for Season 1. So, that's it for the video today. Those are my thoughts on Season 1, on the problems that exist in this game. Remember to check out that Reddit thread down below in the description, as I think that any problems should be thrown in that thread. So I'll just leave you with this question. What are your thoughts on Season 1? What have you liked? What have you disliked? Or are you just not playing the game because of the myriad of issues that we discussed here in this video? I appreciate all of you for watching this. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.